Hey there, Sooner football fans. Parker Thune, Brandon Drum here with you for another OU Insider post-practice blitz. And boy, do the Sooners need to work some things out on the practice field this week. That much is evident. There were a myriad of issues that manifested in very jarring fashion Saturday at the Cotton Bowl as Oklahoma falls 34-3 to Texas. They're now 4-2 on the season. They've got to rebound in a hurry. They're facing a tough South Carolina team at home coming up this weekend at the Palace on the Prairie. And we've had the opportunity to have some very honest, very transparent, and very raw conversations with players and coaches alike over the last few days in the immediate wake of OU's loss to Texas, their second loss in 3 years, second blowout loss in 3 years in the Red River rivalry. Brent Venables addressed the media yesterday, and what was very apparent from one particular comment of his is that it doesn't really fall squarely on the coaches, doesn't really fall squarely on the players. There are a lot of issues at play for Oklahoma right now.
We just need to execute. That's not really satisfying for anybody, and I get that. I look at, again, we got to become more explosive, and we got to make plays that are there. And that's, well, I go back, is it there? Is they have the best defense against what we're doing every snap, then we got to figure out, better ways to scheme. If we're in good calls against what the defense is presenting, and there are issues with, again, details of what we're doing based on what I know we're coaching them to do, again, where there's got to be some player accountability as well. So I asked the players yesterday, we're going through plays, and I'm like, so did the coach tell you to do this way or not? And like, no, I was told to do it. I said, well, then that's your responsibility. Take that to game day. I say I'll run over your coaches, throw them under the bus all you want me to, if you think that's appropriate, that you got to be open and honest, and a coach has got to own it when they screw up, and there's plenty of that. And then the players got to have responsibility too. Are you spending the extra time to have your details down when you get in the moment and the game's going fast to be able to, execute at a high level?
Now, Brandon, that's kind of the most frustrating aspect of all of this for Oklahoma is sometimes it's as easy as you see the leak, you plug it for a football team or for a unit. There are leaks all over the place.
It's bad.
It's like playing whack-a-mole, right? Hit one mole on the head, another one pops up.
And here's the thing is it feels like, and I think a prime example of everything is look at Michael Tarquin. He's been one of your better offensive linemen all year. And I believe he screwed up 3 or 4 times in the first half, and he didn't touch the field hardly at all, if at all, again, throughout the second half, second quarter and beyond. So I think that shows you where things are with OU's offense right now, that you have veteran guys that aren't playing like veteran guys. And when that starts to happen, you can't expect the freshman, the sophomore to come in and play and carry the team. There's rarities, there's exceptions to the rules to those type of situations. There's obviously the Ryan Williams of the world, right? Those type of guys, the Adrian Petersons of the world, when things were struggling back in 2004, when Oklahoma struggled offensively, even 2005, you could turn around and hand it to 28 and something good would happen. There's not a lot of that going on right now. And I just don't know what you can do. You got missed blocks. You've got penalties. You've got dudes running wide open that aren't seen. You've got guys running the wrong routes. You have dudes fumbling. When all that compiles together, guess what? It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter coaching. Doesn't matter player. Like, you're not going to win ball games. And if you do win, you better hope to God your defense turned the ball over about 10 times. And here's the thing is Oklahoma handed Texas everything, but they've got to move on. They've got to get, they got to focus on South Carolina. I know they got to shove all this stuff to the side, but it's hard to believe that everything that's gone wrong is just magically snap of the finger going to be fixed for South Carolina. I just can't see it happening.
And one of the plays that really summed up the afternoon of futility that was for Oklahoma last Saturday was what ended up being Oklahoma's longest rush of the day, a 13-yard spurt by Taylor Tatum, and at the end of the play, he fumbles, and the Longhorns jump on the football. Now, it's very obvious that Tatum is the guy that provides the most juice out of the backfield right now. He's given Sooner fans some hope that they can get this running game on track. He's averaging 6.7 yards per carry, but the fumble was alarming and unfortunate. And certainly some of the missed assignments that he has had as a pass blocker have hurt Oklahoma at times. Even so, it's always really, really good to catch up with Javonte Barnes. Always a great interview when they give him to us after practice. And we got the opportunity to talk to Barnes about Tatum, who, as a true freshman, has really made a strong impression, even if he has been hit or miss with what he's provided on the field for Oklahoma. Good in the running game, kind of rough pretty much everywhere else. But the important thing that he emphasized is that Tatum is certainly a guy that isn't going to get down on himself after a moment like that, a lapse like that. And the rest of the offense is going to trust him to continue toting the rock.
Taylor, he doesn't let anything like that get to him, and I wish I had that kind of mindset on me too. But he doesn't let little moments like that or big moments like that get to him, and that's kind of where I'm proud of him for that. Just not letting that moment get to him and stick with him. I know obviously he'll want to get it back 100%, but just letting that fuel him and going into the next game with a hungry mindset and just a good demeanor, just not out there slouchy, making sure even if it's walkthrough, he's kind of got a different kind of jog to him. So just proud of him on just not letting that dwell on him and letting him mess up his mindset.
If the entire dynamic of Oklahoma's offense can be summed up in the performance of one individual player, Brandon, it might very well be Taylor Tatum. Because, man, there's such flashes of excitement from him, especially when the ball is in his hands. But, man, it can get sloppy at times when he's out there on the field. Brent Venables even referenced in his press conference yesterday that the 13-yard run, good as it might have looked, was not incredibly well executed by Taylor Tatum relative to the original concept. He said the footwork wasn't great. He just kind of rambled his way for 13 yards, and you like that, right? But certainly you don't like the technique or lack thereof that Venables referenced, and you also don't like the fumble at the end of it. That hurts.
I think the most jarring thing is that we're sitting here talking about the biggest run being 13 yards.
Yeah.
I can't get past that. I like everything else, whatever. I know the fumble that sucked. They lost it. They kind of flipped the game completely in Texas' favor when that took place because that was on. Was that I can't even remember anymore. Was that before or after Hawkins' fumble?
It was immediately after.
Immediately after, right? Okay, so that kind of flipped everything on its heels. Everything was done, and I think right after that fumble, it felt like, obviously Oklahoma RSJ stripped the ball, everything rolls in, and that everything kind of turned on its heels 100% in Texas' favor at that point. But be that as it may, we're talking about a run game where you're getting excited over 13 yards being the biggest run. That is awful. I think that's more glaring and telling of where things stand than anything else in the whole grand scheme of Oklahoma offensive football right there.
Well,
yay for 13 yards. You got a first down.
Yeah, in years past,
congratulations.
13 yards was just another run for Kennedy Brooks or for Eric Gray or Ramondre Stevenson or whoever. Pick a running back that has excelled at Oklahoma in recent memory. But at 13 yards felt like an explosive play for Oklahoma on Saturday. And again, that speaks to the futility of this offense on a large scale through 6 weeks. The more
we talk about it, the worse it gets, dude. Like, it just hurts.
Hey, also, Deshaun McCullough used your favorite buzz phrase on Monday night after practice. Take a listen.
I mean, everyone just has to be focused on doing their 111. Everyone just has to do their job. That's the main part. Nobody has to go out there and, be Superman and try to make that type of play. We all play in the defense and play our role. The plays are going to come to you. And you know what I mean? We're going to have a great game if we execute like that.
Now, obviously, he's talking about the defense specifically with that comment there, Brandon, but it is applicable across this entire roster right now. And painful as it may be to your ears, on pretty much any given play over the course of the football game, there's at least one guy on the field for Oklahoma that's not doing their 111.
Yeah. I think
Explain for a moment, if you would, why you hate that phrase.
you never hear good teams say that. You never heard teams that are successful say it's because of 1 of 11. No, when things are going bad, people kind of use that analogy and that buzz phrase, word, whatever you want to use, to kind of say, well, because one person didn't do their job, all 11 suffered on it and something bad happened. You can look towards Bowers Sharp, unbelievable blocking ability on a couple of plays on Saturday as a prime example. Or you can look at, you can look at the fact that there was, and I want everybody to understand. Come to find out, everybody wants to point at RSJ. He ran in late. There was missed blocks on the play where they go up 14-7, right? Or 14-3, excuse me, 14-3. He was getting his butt chewed out for something that happened earlier. So but still he gets blamed because it's 1 of 11, right? The mistakes happen. It's 1 of 11. It's 1 of 11, 1 of 11. You never hear good teams use that. They say it's because you do your job. That it's more of a generalized phrase, and it just encompasses the whole team because you're successful in what you're doing. 1 of 11 kind of pinpoints to one person screwed this up and the whole team suffered. So that's why I dislike it, because it just equals suck, in my opinion. And I know some people may disagree with that, but find good teams that say 1 of 11. I have yet to hear that from a good team. The bad teams in the NFL, I've heard used it this year. The bad teams in college football. And I'm not saying Oklahoma is a bad team. Defensively, they're good. That's why it's odd that Deshaun McCullough was using it, but it's a buzzword that they're using across the whole football team to kind of, I guess, move away from just how bad the offense is. And they're probably trying to use that as a motivational side for the defense. Just keep doing your job. Good things are going to happen. 1 of 11, 1 of 11, 1 of 11. Well, it's 22, right? Like there's 22. There's two sides. It's 1 of 22. That's how I see it. Your whole team. I don't know, Parker. It's rough to watch just all the way around. I think we keep saying that, and it doesn't get any easier. Like the more you go back and you watch some of this stuff, it's just like ice picks in your eyeballs. Like really, like it's hard to watch.
And as Jesse and I discussed on Quick Slants yesterday, Brent Venables' comment in which he doesn't completely shut the door on using two quarterbacks at the same time, what that tells you is that there is nothing that's off the table right now for this staff as they're trying to
except
figure
for
out.
Casey Thompson. You see, that's not on the option. Like he's talking about Jackson Arnold, and that's my biggest issue. And it has nothing to do with my relation. I have a relationship with Jackson Arnold too. I have a relationship with Casey Thompson. Got a relationship with Michael Hawkins. Like you got to stick with one. You got to stick with one. You can't just keep this. This just screams 1998 all over again to me.
And to that point, their one, at least right now, for the time being, is Michael Hawkins. They made that decision. And for me, when that decision was made against Tennessee, there's not really any going back from it. Like you're committed to Hawkins for the rest of the season. Anything beyond that, you're playing musical chairs, and that's never good for a football team. But for the moment, Michael Hawkins is their guy at quarterback. And I want to go back to Javonte Barnes here because I got the chance to ask him Monday night, man, how can the rest of the offense support a freshman quarterback and help keep his confidence up after a performance like that and when there just really isn't any tangible sense of rhythm offensively? Here's what Barnes said.
He still has that confidence, and 100% he still has that. Not one time have I seen Mike with his head down or, dang, I should have did this. I mean, he's a competitor, so he's going to be hard on himself, but I think he's been doing a great job with his next play and just keep going. Like I said, we have a long season, and we have so many games to play. So he's a competitor. He wants to do better. Everybody wants to do better. I want to do better. So just make sure he just keeps going and keep that confidence.
obviously Barnes kind of echoing a common sentiment there that we've heard repeated so many times about Hawkins. And it's true about him, right? He's not going to get too high. He's not going to get too low. Be that as it may, Brandon, the Sooners have to find answers offensively. They have to establish a rhythm. There's got to be a willingness to cut Hawkins loose from the staff end, and there's got to be a willingness on Hawkins' part to take a few calculated risks with the football in the passing game if Oklahoma is to unlock their full potential, whatever that looks like offensively in 2024.
Parker, I want your opinion on this because I wholeheartedly believe this.
Okay.
And I would tell even my kids this. I would tell anybody that plays quarterback this. You have to take chances. You can't sit there and worry about interceptions. You can't worry about not turning the ball over. And I know that he takes great pride in being that guy that hasn't thrown a pick and all that type of stuff. And that's something to be prideful about. I make no, qualms about that at all. That's really, you should be prideful about that. But at the same time, sometimes you can do things that other people can't do with the arm that you have. And in those tight windows, yeah, you're going to throw a pick or two being a gunslinger. But man, that gunslinger mentality has got you to where you're at now. You need to get that back. Be damned what everybody else is telling you. Be you. Get that. I mean, that gunslinger mentality is what got you the starting job with how you played against Tennessee. You were just letting it rip in the second half against Tennessee, against one of the better defenses in college football. They're going to be, that's better. You've played better than South Carolina up to this point. Auburn defensively, Texas, Tennessee. You should come into this game with a gunslinger mentality, not worried about if you throw an interception or two, oh well. If you're moving the ball down the field, if you're putting the defense on their heels for the most part, and you're allowing the run game to get going because they actually have to worry about your arm and they can't stack the box, that's a win. That means you're going to put some drives together and you're going to put some points up on the board. Let the defense worry about stopping them if you turn the ball over. And they've been good at doing that all season long. So just play your game.
Bingo. And to that point, we know how opportunistic Oklahoma has been as a defense as far as generating turnovers. South Carolina's quarterback, Lenora Sellers, has thrown a pick in 4 straight games. So, you know what? If you're Michael Hawkins and you do put the ball in harm's way and you do get burned and you do throw a pick, hey, there's a real good chance that your defense is able to either get it right back or later on they'll equalize. By forcing a mistake of their own or simply capitalizing on a mistake that Lenora Sellers makes. So I think one way or another, Brandon, this fan base just wants to see something dynamic out of this offense. They want to see creativity. They want to see motion. They want to see nuance. They want to see anything that is diametrically opposite of what we have seen the last couple of games for Oklahoma, which is on the large scale, pretty bland offensive football. And I get that you're limited by the offensive line, but at a certain point, when you got a quarterback who's a playmaker, you got a running back who's a playmaker, you got wide receivers that are playmakers, man, you got to cut them loose. Got to cut them loose or else there's not much hope moving forward the rest of the way with that schedule.
Do you believe Deion Burks plays?
I do not. I'm not optimistic about Deion Burks. Again, it feels like Michael Hawkins is going to be rolling with the same crew of wideouts that he's had the last couple of weeks, and somebody's going to need to step up. J.J. Hester did it in the Auburn game. No one really truly stepped up against Texas. Zion Kearney did have his nicest day as a collegian thus far, but somebody's going to have to be the go-to guy in this offense and make big plays down the field in the pass game. That's it for this installment of the Post-Practice Blitz. That is Brandon Drum. I am Parker Thune. Hit subscribe if you aren't subscribed to this channel. It just helps us out. You're not going to start getting text notifications or emails or anything like that. It's not going to cost you a dime. It just helps us out. And if you want to go subscribe at ouinsider.com, trust me, folks, there's a lot more exclusive team information and intel that you're going to get over there that we can't give you on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter. ouinsider.com if you want all of it. That is the place to be. We hope to see you over there. We'll certainly see you back here on this channel next week for the Post-Practice Blitz once again. Take care, everybody.